Kia ora, good morning. Sorry, I just woke up. I've been asleep for hours. I just wanted to document a dream I had. It was a really cool dream, and I got shown something in it that I was like, oh my god, I never thought of that before. But there you go. If I go silence because I'm having a sip. I've just burnt my incense, lit my oils, had my apple cider vinegar, and now I'm having coffee, and the taste is quite unique. Anyway, I had a dream that I was visiting the prison that Martin was in. It wasn't the prison Martin was in, not in real life, but in the dream it was. Although it could have been, I don't know. I never saw the inside of the prison, only like the visitors bit. But I had a dream that me and a team of people, I knew who all these people were. We pulled up at the car park. We got out of our cars and buses and that, and we were lining up to go inside the prison, having to show our ID. But we were there for a volunteer service, like a charity service, to visit inmates who don't get visitors, to go there and keep them company. This is what the charity service that we'd signed up for was. I had signed everyone up that had turned up in the cars and buses. We were all going there because of me. And when we were lining up to go into the bit where all the inmates were, the people that I was standing in line with were saying to me, like, aren't you scared? And I was like, God, no. I was like, I'm an old hack when it comes to visiting prisons. I said, I used to come here to visit Martin and Kevin. Kevin Demon was his AK, was Martin's best friend, and he was in the prison next door. And I used to talk to him on the phone. I absolutely loved him like a brother. I adored him. I loved him like a brother, and Martin got very jealous of the relationship and put the kibosh on it, and I lost Kevin and never heard from him again. It absolutely broke my heart. Martin has a habit of removing my best friends from my life. He gets very jealous because 99.9% of my best friends have always been male, and he wanted to have control over everything I did, including getting rid of my best friends and the people closest to me, because, that's what narcs do. So I was saying, I used to come here to visit Martin and Kevin. Kevin is also the one who, the groomer, the child groomer that Martin left me for, Courtney. She's the one that, because I thought if I drew Courtney's attention away from Martin, she'd leave Martin alone. And then the first phone call they had, she was trying to get her 5-year-old daughter to talk to Kevin on the phone while she was naked in the bath, and then punished her daughter for not doing it, because she came to class and said, locked her in her room. There were times when Rhea would come to me as well and say that her daughter was telling her things when they were having training sessions together, and she was concerned about the things that her daughter was saying. Yeah, well, Courtney's the one that, that's Courtney, that's the one that Martin left me for, as well as like Rocio, obviously. But in the dream I was saying, no, I'm an old hand at this, like I used to come here all the time, yada yada, blah blah blah. So then anyway, they open the doors and we go into this big like communal area where there's tables and chairs, and you could just walk around. Usually when you go to visit, you're not allowed to walk around unless it's go to the toilet or get food. You can get up and walk out in the gardens if they open the doors and that, but generally you're not really allowed to walk around unless it's like to get your photo taken or whatever. But we were allowed to just walk around. And I was walking past and there was this man in a wheelchair, and he stopped me and he said, excuse me, he said, I don't mean to bother you, ma'am. He said, but do you think you could sit and talk to me? He said, I've been in here 12 years, and he said, I haven't had a visitor in that time. And he said, you just look really friendly. And he said, you look like the sort of person that I could come to for advice, and I have some advice about my mental health, and you look like someone who could help me. And he just looked so sad. And I was like, absolutely, of course. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, of course. I said, just let me get a cushion and I'll come and sit down, because I didn't want to sit on the chair for some reason. So I got a cushion and I sat down and we started talking. And then all these other people that in my group were sitting and talking with him as well. And then I saw these young boys over in the corner sitting at this table, and they were reading comic books. And I said to the guy, just excuse me a minute. And for some reason I was wearing booty shorts and like a boob, like a boob tube top thing, which I would never do, like ever. You wouldn't be allowed to in a prison anyway, but it means exposing my vulnerabilities is what it means. So I went over to these three boys sitting at the table, and they could have only been about 17. And I said to them, excuse me, I don't mean to bother you. I said, but are you boys into comic books and video games? And they were like, why? And I said, because I'm starting a company where I'm making comic books and video games. And I said, I see you're reading comic books. And I said, like, I'm just wondering, would you boys be, like, if I was to bring out a comic book based on this, and this, like, would you be interested? And they were like, well, what are they about? And I said, well, one of them's the Quantum Menace. I said, that's kind of like my version of, superheroes and X-Men and all of that. And their eyes all lit up, and they were like, oh my God, really? And I was telling them about the Quantum Menace. I said, and then there's the Soul Collector. And so I was telling them a bit about the Soul Collector, and they were like, oh my God, really? And I was like, yeah. And then I said, and there's this other one. I said, and it's based on a battle that I wrote in a movie called With a Little Help from My Friends. I said, my son and I were going to take the war from that and turn it into like a Dungeons and Dragons style RPG-based board game that I want to turn into a comic book. And their eyes lit up, and one of the boys said, we made this comic book. We just used paper from the commissary. And he showed me, and it was just like notepad paper. We had one of them had done the drawings, and one of them had written like the little bits in it, with, I think, pencil and pen. He'd done the art in pen and the writing in pencil, and they were reading the comic book together. And I said to them, oh my God, I said, I've set up a program. I said, when I come here, I'm setting up a program. I said, do you want to be writers and artists in the program? And these three boys looked at me like, ah, and just like burst into light, and then I woke up. Now, the thing is, I woke up and I thought, I never intended on making this role-playing game, that because my boy loves like Warhammer and all of that as well, and I grew up with D&D. My ex-husband used to play D&D a lot, and I loved watching them play. Sometimes I'd join in. I was a bard, and I love that sci-fi fantasy fairy tale thing, and I had always said that I wanted to have my comics and my books in the game bookstores. We can buy the little figures for your role playing and that. And I had fully intended on having LARPing weekends at the foundation, where I'd open up the fields to people, allowing them to have tents, and that we would have big LARPing events based on the stories in a video game that I created, which is I call it Your War 2, but it's all based on the Seven Kingdom of Realms from Lucian's Dragon. And then, of course, taking the battle from, with a little help from my friends, Thomas and I, we're turning that into like a role-playing game where you'd have to sit down at the table and roll your dice, and, you know, you'd have like a quest master and all of that, and you'd have to, like, you know, play out these battles. My character was Thorgon. I'm a dwarf. That's who my character would be, is Thorgon. And this dream was telling me to turn it into a comic book. Turn the story into a comic book. And the thing was, it was the prison that Martin and Kevin were in, but Kevin was in the one next door, and it was called Collins. The one that Martin was in before he got let out was called Collins in New York. That's the one where I walked through the back roads by myself with my suitcase, and that sign in the thumbnail, I have walked past that sign 100 times. And what I'm thinking is, see, you know, my Beyondlife program, how I want to set up the Beyondlife program, it was because of the inmates that he was with that used to help him do all his artwork and that, to send me cards and stuff. And I thought, oh my God, like, why these boys were so talented. I've got like a handkerchief that was handmade with the most beautiful flower on it and all of that. And I thought, these guys are a wasted talent. I need to do something with it. That's when I came up with the idea for Beyondlife. And and then I was trying to pitch it, and Martin was going to help me. One of the last things I ever sent him was a book about mythological creatures for his birthday, so that he could learn up on them, to help me come up with characters for what was then Andre's Dragon. Little knowing at the time he was seeing the groomer. But I think it was Michelle or Beth. Beth, I think, gave me money for my birthday and asked me what I wanted to do with it. And I said it wasn't for his birthday. I told her to send a book to Martin, I think. I can't remember. I know the last thing I sent him was a book to do with mythological creatures, so that he could help me do this program with me. And then, of course, that never happened. So then I started trying to do it on my own, and then got shut down everywhere I went because of Trump and all that. Like, you know, I was saying about the Christy Gnome thing. But now I understand why. Like, now I get it. Now I know why. But this dream, I want to set up the Beyondlife program, and the fact, I mean, I'm still going to set it up, but the fact that there were young boys in there is saying to me, go ahead with what you're thinking, do what it is that you're planning to do, which is, remember, I wanted to go to some judges and have a talk with some of these judges, take them out for a nice meal or a coffee or a drink or something, and ask them to choose kids that they know have the potential to turn their lives around, where we can put them into the program, either while they're at juvie or instead of going to juvie, giving them a second chance beyond the life they thought they were going to have. Because that's what I was saying to them. Oh my God, you boys are such talented writers and artists. You need to come and work on my program. That's what I was saying in the dream. So it's like the dream was saying, remember what your plan was, do it. But add a fantasy fairy tale comic book as well. And I've already got it ready to go based on the war from Your War 2, which I wrote when I was locked up. Based on the story with a little help from my friend that I wrote when I was locked up, and also Your War 2, which is based on a quest video game, a quest-like video game that you have to play, kind of like Fable and that, but where you have to go through the Kingdom of Realms from Lucian's Dragon. And then when I build fire and I have my Alchemist Tavern, or Amber's Alchemist Tavern, I wanted to relegate like Thursday nights for role-playing night. So any of my staff that wanted to come in and play was supposed to be with me and Thomas, but it'll be me, me, come and get our books and our dice out and our little characters out and play our little role-playing game. And then every summer have a LARPing weekend based on the characters from my games and comic book. I'll need to come out with the comic books first in order to get the interest, but I think that's what the dream is telling me, do it. And the thing is, with it being at Collins, I was thinking, like, if God is trying to push me in the direction of America, because it seems like every time I try to get back to Switzerland, he keeps pushing me towards America, but he knows the rules for that. I might just go to Collins Correction Centre myself. I might go there, I might request an appointment, and just go to them and say, look, my husband was in this prison. I've got all his numbers, I've got all his letters, I've got all the little slip notes from writing back and forth to the governors and going in and out of the prison. They used to, the guards used to sing that Corey Hart song. I wear my sunglasses at night, because I was always wearing my sunglasses inside before I had to go in, to the bit where Martin was waiting. And they'd say, oh, here she is wearing her sunglasses at night. And then they'd sing that song, I wear my sunglasses at night. That one. And they said, why are you always wearing sunglasses? And I say, stops the wrinkles, so I don't get wrinkles around my eyes. But you're inside, yeah, but it's bright lights. And if you squint, I'd say, if you squint, you're going to get wrinkles. Oh, I'll have to try that. Too late, mate, blah, 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 sort of thing. Yeah, so they might, if they're still working there, some of them might even remember me. They say, I can't believe you've come all the way from England. What have you come all the way from England for? Oh, Lord. So, and what was he, the counsellor that I had to have the meeting with to set up the wedding with Martin and everything. He was so lovely. I've got his letter. I remember him because he said, are you sure you want to do this? Like he knew. And I was like, yes, of course. And he was like, all right. And he signed off on it. Signed off on us getting married. Apparently he said to Martin, don't you do anything to disrespect this one, because he rang me up and he was like, oh, I just spoke to, I can't remember what his name was though, and he goes, the effing arsehole said, he said, I just had my meeting with him. He said, she's really nice, she's really lovely. He said, I hope you're not going to do anything to screw her over or to mess this up or something. Don't you do anything to hurt her, he said. And then boom, pew. I didn't listen, didn't listen to the red flags. Ugh. Anyway, but the good thing that came out of it was Lucian's dragon, the porcelain rabbit, which I'm going to be using a lot of in other things, and the Beyondlife program. And it's almost like my dream was saying, have you thought about, like, just focus on the Beyondlife program? When you get to America, maybe go to the prison. They'll have you logged in there. I'll show them the letters where he was trying to get me to put drugs on the letter. I should do, Anyway, that would just be an arsehole. I'm beyond that now. I'd use it if my life was ever in danger or he tried to pull any ridiculous stunts. But I know that there was a whole... I think he was planning on suing the prison. I think he was planning on suing Collins Corrections for wrongfully putting him in the box for saying that he was involved in that drug deal that went down. But I think he was involved in that drug deal that went down, because I've got the letters under my bed. And it was after he was trying to get me to do that visit went down where the girlfriend and the inmate got arrested, and he tried to say he was innocent, that he had nothing to do with it, but they put him in the box for 90 days anyway, and he had to have urine tests. They needed to do urine tests to prove that he wasn't taking any of the drugs, and I broke the machine for him from a distance using biorhythmics to protect him because he said he was innocent. I mean, I was so dumb back then. And then it was later on, obviously after I got locked up and I figured out everything that was going on, I thought, hang on, I've got letters under my bed from around the same time where he was trying to talk me into putting like acid on the paper, and he was like giving me instructions on how to do it. And my boys ATST and ATAT that we sold to save money for the flights to take the boys over to the prison so they could meet their stepdad. I ended up having to use it to pay off his debts. God, it's all coming together now. It's all starting to make sense. So, yeah, so I think that he was one of the last phone calls we had before I heard from him, before I never heard from him again, was he was asking for the contact details of the lawyer that that was helping him with this case. So I think he was like going to launch a lawsuit against Collins Correctional Facility for wrongful accusation to do with this drug thing, but I have the letters under the bed where he was trying to get me to do it, and whatever it was that he was trying to get me to pass to him is what she was trying to pass to him, and they got caught. I think it even made the news. I think it was even on the internet news and stuff. And his name got brought into it, and he tried to deny culpability, and they put him in the box while they were investigating and everything. And then, yeah, I forgot about that, because he was going to sue the prison, and he had a lawyer that he wanted to contact to ask for help on how to sue the prison, and I used to email the lawyer. He was a really lovely guy. I keep thinking his last name was Fox, but I don't think it was. But he was a really nice guy, this lawyer was, and one of the last phone calls I ever had with him, he was asking for, or one of the last letters I got through JPay was him asking for this lawyer's details. So, yeah, because I think he was planning on suing the prison, and he was going to ask this lawyer for help, because this lawyer had been brought in to help him work on his case. So I might take the letters just in case, but what I was thinking was I'll go to the prison and I'll say to the prison, can you let me set up the Beyondlife program here? Let me set up the comic book program here. But also do, because I think with the boys being younger as well, being told do the same thing with the juvenile program. And that's what my nephew Jacob's going to be running. He's going to be the editor for the comic books. And it was all people that I knew standing in line. So all the people that I knew standing in line coming to this charitable service, which is what the Beyondlife program is. It's like a charitable program, charitable, inmate program. It's a non-profit. That's why all the people were there were people that I knew, because I think it's to do with my comic book department. All the people helping me put the program together. We supply all the art materials. We supply their, their money with JPay accounts to pay them for their time and their talents. And then everyone gets the comic book for free. All the inmates, they get their comic books for free. It gets shared, through it was supposed to be through the American prison system, because they have all their little tablets now, and you can download music and movies and all that sort of thing, and it's disgustingly expensive. And I had always said when I produce my comic books, they'll be able to download them for free. I wanted to set up like a whole department inside the prison as well, but, everything got screwed up. However, I can still do it, but just do it through the foundation. And then one of the things that I was going to do was with my drivers, I was going to employ veterans and, homeless men, homeless veterans, homeless men, that sort of thing, and employ them as drivers to do as part of the Beyondlife charity program, do monthly trips out to the prisons where my boys are, for visitation for their friends and family to come and visit, like put free buses on for them as part of the program, as part of their reward for helping put the comics together. That's what the dream was about. So it's like God saying, do it, go on, do it in America, do it in America. And maybe start with Collins, go to Collins Corrections. I had said that if any of the inmates complete the program and they don't go in the box and they don't get dirties, like dirty urine tests and that sort of thing, if they stay good for the time that they're on the program, they have to have more than 2 years left to serve. If they do good on the program, when they get out, we'll offer them a job in the comic book department. So, yeah, it's like that dream was saying, remember when you were planning on doing that? Do it. But turn your sci-fi, turn your fantasy fairy tale into a comic book. So that's 3 comic books. And extend it to the youth facilities, the detention centres. So there you go. That was my dream. I completely forgot about Martin wanting to sue the prison. But it turns out he was involved because he was trying to get me involved, and I was like, where the hell am I going to get that stuff from? I'm a prude when it comes to that sort of thing. I wouldn't have a clue. I had to look up what the effects of cocaine and opioids was. I didn't even know that cocaine was called ghost. I only learned all that sort of stuff when I had to do my own investigation into what they put in the pizza and the weed. I wouldn't have a clue about drugs. I couldn't tell you what you do with ice and crack. I thought they were the same thing. I wouldn't have a clue. I smoke weed every now and then, once in a blue moon. I keep it organic. And I don't hide it. There's no shame in admitting that you embrace Mother Earth for her healing properties, because I do the same thing with spring onions and chives and rosemary and thyme. I don't smoke it, I eat it. But anyway, you get my point. This dream has made me remember things I forgot. And I know I'd mentioned about the letters under my bed before, but I'd completely forgotten about him planning to sue the prison for false accusations or false imprisonment or whatever it was for going in the box, and it turns out he was lying. And I've got the proof under the bed. Thank God. Thank God Gabriel rescued that bag under the bed. The box under the bed. Chris stole the marriage license. But everything else was under the bed. Oh, thank God. Gabriel, you little angel. Oh, so, because it had all my important papers like my passport and my birth certificate and all that. But he grabbed the entire box and put it in a bag. Bless him. Oh, I don't think he realised what he was doing. But anyway, so yeah. It was in my old Debbie the Kiwi emails that I was writing to that lawyer. I was conversing back and forth because he was letting me know what was happening with Martin's case against him. He was saying it didn't look good, that he may be getting more time, and that I needed to prepare myself and blah, blah, blah. And then Martin wanted his contact details, like literally in the days leading up to me never talking to him again. So I don't know if he was planning on suing me. But I can flip that and reverse it because, if he got compensation from the prison, if he got a payout from the prison, he'll get done for fraud and perjury because I have the letters under my bed. So I was thinking, if the Lord is redirecting me towards America, I think I'm being told just go to the prison and say to the prison, hey, can you help me? Like, do you want to do this program with me? My ex was here. I set it up while he was in here. Blah, 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 yada, yada, and see what they say. And if not Collins, then just like South Dakota, because that's where I'd be living. If God is redirecting me towards America. Trump is absolutely on fire at the moment, so it just seems like at any point now he's gone. They're impeaching him. But I need Musk out the way too. And then everybody involved with what Chris and Martin did. I need them all out the way. I need to know that I can walk the streets safely. Because I'll never feel safe while those people are walking free. Because of the lengths they went through to try and stop me from helping inmates and children and people. Now, the fact that the man in the wheelchair was asking, saying, with my mental health, blah, 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 him being in a wheelchair is representative of vulnerable inmates who are struggling with their mental health because they're locked up. And one of the things that I was going to do as part of the program was have like a hotline service, have like a free phone service where they could set up phone conversations, like make appointments, set up phone conversations where when they needed someone to talk to, I would be there. They could talk to me or some of the people in my team who were specifically trained to be counsellors. Which is what I was saying. I was saying yesterday that there were some of the people that I was locked up with, some of the nurses and that I would love to offer jobs to. That sort of thing. Obviously, with people like Sally Ann, who's an actual nurse, I would have her at the nurses' station. I'd have her as an actual nurses' station. People like Sammy and Jody, who are all in administration, I'd put them in the administration department, HR, that sort of thing. But with someone like Tracy, I'd say to her, work on the hotline. And then, of course, when any of the kids were having issues, we'd have counsellors there because I'm going to have like a medical station and a counsellors station in my my wellbeing centre, where you'll be able to come and have, there'll be earth and air botanicals in that street. I call it the creation frequency street. I haven't got a real name for it, it's just what I call it. But in the creation frequency street, that's where you go for healing, mind, body, spirit healing. And I'll have my earth and air botanicals beauty treatment centre there, my gym, as well, you know, because like even though the gym could be in Earth Street, because it gives you that adrenaline rush and the dopamine high, and it helps triggers the vagus nerve in your brain, makes you feel good. I'm going to have the gym there, and I'll have my nurses station, and we will have round the clock, you know, medical staff on call should anything happen, paramedics, that sort of thing, and the counsellor centre, like the spiritual centre, will be there. You know, I put up the post where I was saying for the kids' safe space, and it was all like wicker furniture, and I said, but I'd put beanbags in there. It's going to be like that, where kids can go and they can like have group talks with counsellors, guidance counsellors, and you know, people who are qualified, so that when the kids, because obviously you're dealing with kids who are dealing with trauma and mental health issues because of how they were treated and misunderstood and misdiagnosed and all of that. Tracy understood that. That's why she defended me so bad, because she knew that I wasn't what they were. They were trying to make out I was violent, and she was getting shitty with them. Sorry, Debbie, I don't mean to jump in, but she said, no, you've got that all wrong. I'm sorry. She was saying that Debbie doesn't have a violent bone in her body. She's exactly who I'd be looking for. So that's what I was saying. There was good that came out of what happened when I was locked up, and now this dream is saying the good stuff that came out of when you were locked up, take it back to Alpha and Omega to when Martin and Kevin were locked up, and put the two together, which is my Beyondlife program plus, and what I'm offering at the foundation. And then, of course, meeting Marie and Tracy and Sally Ann and Jodie and Sammy, I genuinely, honestly would offer them jobs. I'd move their families and everything, come and work with me. They were people worth their jobs, but I'd pilfer them, I'd steal them if I could. Do you want a job? Come and live with me, come and move to Switzerland, come and move to America, and run this program with me. And that's why all the people were lined up in the dream. They were all people I knew. So with my Beyond Life program, I had always planned on having like a call line, so that when they were having low confidence days, or they were stressing out or lonely or something, they could book an appointment through their little iPad, and then have like a 1 hour phone call with one of my people that works at the centre. So, you know, it's all fun and games, it's all entertainment, it's all movies and music and comic books and TV shows and cartoons and animations and board games and all that, but I also I've got to take care of their physical health, which is why I have a medical centre. I have to take care of their security, which is why I'll have the best security walking around. And I have to take care of their mental health, so they'll have like in my wellness centre, they'll have like a spiritual centre. And then if they want to go and read their Quran or their Torah or their Bible, if they're religious, whatever, they've got a place where they can sit in quiet, where they can go to pray and do all that sort of thing. I'll have all the spiritual leaders there to come and help them, you know, like fellow Christians and Jews and Muslims and all of that working with me anyway, so they can all do it together should they want to, you know, stay connected to their God. But if they're having like emotional, like say if they're homesick or they've had a fight with their parents or they're scared about something or having any kind of mental health issue, anxiety, that sort of thing, we'll have counsellors there. Because like I'm a mum, and a mum takes care of all her kids' needs. And I've literally built my business around being a mum. Fire was developed around everything that I provided my children when I was homeschooling them. My foundation is basically the foundation of mum. So it's Mum's empire. It's the empire of mothering. My boys used to say I was like a hover mum, so it's like, okay, so turn that into an empire where I get to take care of all the kids' needs from top to bottom, what they eat, their spiritual well-being, their mental health, keeping them creative and busy, teaching them about real life. And I don't think people realise that. That's what the foundation is. It's the empire of the mother. I'm providing everything that a mother provides at sacrifice to myself to do it, just like with my boys. It's basically one big homeschooling business where everything these kids have and will be provided is everything that I did for my boys when I was homeschooling them. And I don't think people realise that. So, yeah, I'm cashing in on motherhood. I even have my own range of baby food that I'll sell. My ogre oil you can put on babies' bums. I even have teething products that I created. So I've given a lot of teething advice to people on social media when their kids have been teething. If you look at any of my message history, you'll see somebody saying they're teething. They're teething. That's because they're teething. Because I trained with Plunkett. So yeah. So there you go. So that's what the dream was telling me. How exciting. And it's like it doesn't matter how I keep trying to focus on going to Switzerland. My dreams will keep saying, yeah, but are you sure? Like, have a think about. I think maybe I want you in America. And it's like, well, put up or shut up, Lord. And I'm allowed to say that because he knows I'm a cheeky arsehole and he loves me for it anyway. He created me, so he wanted me to be a cheeky arsehole as far as I'm concerned. And it's like, yeah, well, just do it then. I don't care where I go as long as I'm safe and I don't have to worry about money and I'm not answering to anyone. Just let me do what I want to do. Don't get in my way. As long as I'm safe, I don't have to worry about money, and it results in me having my school. I don't care where I go. Obviously, I'm not in control of this, which is why Jesus took the wheel. I mean, technically, if you look at it on a map, the higher ground would be America, because it is up. But I will not live in New York. Absolutely will not live in New York. Absolutely not. I need to go up north. I need to be with the bears and the wolves and the buffalo. Like I have to. That's non-negotiable, Lord. Non-negotiable. I don't mind setting up the program with the prison at Collins, but I think maybe that was just to trigger the memory of what I just remembered. But yeah, I don't mind going to the prison and setting it up at Collins, but I will not live in New York. I want to live in either South Dakota or Montana, and that's non-negotiable. I want to be close enough to Thunder Bay in Ontario where I can do something about the Indigenous population at Thunder Bay because the kids keep going missing. The kids keep turning up dead, and if I can set up build a dormitory or some sort of boarding house or something for them. I was originally going to build my safe house there. If I can do something for the Indigenous children of Thunder Bay in Ontario, so I want to be close. And I need First Nations actors and that on board anyway. So, and South Dakota and Montana's. And then when we make the movie, Night of the Black Sun, that was based in the school at South Dakota, where the kids had to drive to Thunder Bay, so that we can literally put that in the movie like we originally put it in the story. So everything's going back to the beginning, but reshaped and remorphed and bigger and better, and now making more sense because it's all coming together. It's like a salad spinner. I've put the lettuce in the salad spinner and I'm spinning it, and all the water's coming out of the lettuce. But I'm only supposed to take the water and not the lettuce, if that makes sense. What comes out of it is what I keep. Or what comes out of it, what's left after everything comes out is what I keep, rather. So I'm still trying to wake up. So there we go. So I really think I am going back to America. I think God's got something up his sleeve. And then I'll be able to do my comic book program and bring my boy over to run my comic book department. My sister's going to be with me anyway, and the boys aren't going to want to leave their mum. And Zion wants to go to Texas to see his friends. So that's not far. So I'll have to say to her, so if I don't go to Switzerland, how about America? She hates Donald Trump, so I say, if Donald Trump was gone and I had the opportunity to do all of this in America, would you come to America with me? She wouldn't say no. I'd still take her to Switzerland because I want to build all over the world, but wherever my start point is. So anyway, so I'm going to go finish my coffee and then have another coffee, because I always have to have at least 2 coffees before I start my day and have my brekkie and break my fast. So I have apple cider vinegar in the morning. Apple cider vinegar is really good for your sugar levels if you have diabetes. It's good for your blood pressure, fantastic for your skin, excellent for your digestive system, and it burns fat. It helps you lose weight. And I'm not trying to lose weight anymore. I don't have that much weight left to lose. I don't have hardly anything left. It's just the residual. Because I don't get to exercise like I want to, because I don't have access to walking paths and forests, and I like to go for walks in nature, and I don't have access to that because I can't drive. And yeah, so I mean, it's working because I'm still losing weight. Whatever it is I'm doing with my diet, I'm still losing weight. My muscles feel fantastic. I feel like Xena warrior princess at 53, and they say, oh, it's hard to lose weight, especially around your tummy after the age of 45. Bollocks. What a load of bollocks. So yeah, it's because of my food. That's why I need to market it, my supernatural foods range, because like you can eat as much as you want of it and lose weight and not even exercise. The weight just like melts off you. So yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go. So that was my dream, and now everything I've remembered and everything I've learned and everything I've now sewn together as a result of it. Obviously God's saying you're not going to Switzerland, you're going to America. It's like, okay, well, put up or shut up. I love you. Love you, Father. Don't strike me down. He knows I'm an arsehole. I'm a lovable arsehole. That's why he loves me. He created me to be an arsehole. If he didn't want me to be a gobby arsehole, he shouldn't have made me a Scorpio. So with an Aries father, and you know what Aries, and that's my sister Erin, their mouths, you know what an Aries mouth is like. Fire tongue. Anyway, so I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō.